Amy Silver, the Mojo Coach. And you know, you may have heard the idea of eating breakfast like a king and lunch like a prince and dinner like a pauper. Well, there's a really good reason for that. Overnight, your body sort of perceives a little bit of a fast going on. So imagine if your body were speaking. It would say, oh, we don't know the next time we're going to be fed regularly, so let's slow down and not burn up everything that we have because we need to conserve. Well, breakfast or break fast is your body's way of saying, oh, you know what, we're being fed regularly. We don't have to hang on to everything. We can burn, and we can fire up our metabolism and crank out those calories and use them as fuel because we don't have to store anything. So that's why breakfast is just so important. But what happens with so many people is they wake up and they're just either not hungry, or they don't like breakfast foods, or they're in a rush and they just don't eat it. But what happens is then you're not really waking up, telling your body to burn. You're kind of teaching it to store. You're not breaking that fast, so your metabolism slows down. And as the day goes on, you're just going to get hungrier and hungrier. And also as the day goes on, the choices typically get fattier and more caloric. You know, take breakfast foods, which could be something like high fiber cereal with fruit and low fat milk, as opposed to something like a greasy fatty cheeseburger with fries for lunch or dinner, right? So breakfast or break fast is definitely, and you've heard this, it's the most important meal of the day. Well, that's kind of why. I have a diagram, and this is going to show you. It is so simple, but if you eat like this, you're guaranteed to keep your weight down. What shape is this? It's a triangle. And you can see breakfast at the bottom, lunch, and dinner. It gets smaller and smaller as the day goes on. This is the healthiest way to eat. What do? We eat like this. Many of us eat the exact opposite way. We're not hungry for breakfast, so we just don't eat it, or we don't eat much of it at all. And then as the day goes on, we get hungrier and hungrier. So then there's a bigger lunch, usually, like I said, more fatty, more caloric, and then this real big heavy dinner. And then what do? We go to sleep. So there's not even a chance to burn anything or use those calories. And you may have heard me mention this before. If your body can't use it, the only thing it can do is convert it to fat and store it for you for when you do need it. So when you're eating that big meal at the end of the day, and then when you sit on the couch or when you go to bed, all that's happening with whatever you can't use, and trust me, a lot of that excess you can't use is converted to fat and stored for you. So what can you do if this is the way you're eating? Well, the first thing is you can flip this triangle over, and an easy way to do that is kind of going to bed a little bit hungry and eating a little bit less. And that may sort of trick you into being a little bit hungrier for breakfast. But for some people, you just absolutely can't tolerate breakfast. Well, this is a healthy way to go to. This is kind of European, kind of the Mediterranean way of eating, where it's, you're not having so much of a breakfast, but you're having a bigger mid-meal and then tapering off as the day goes on. So you can eat in the shape of a triangle or eat in the shape of a diamond. That'll work too. In either case, you want to eat breakfast like a king or a queen, lunch like a prince or a princess, and dinner like a pauper. And for more tips like this, so much more, just keep checking back, themojocoach.com. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.